Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Welcome this Sunday evening. It's 7:23 p.m. Kenyan time. And as always, this is my Sunday weekly analysis. I do this every Sunday. Sometimes I do it early in the day, sometimes in the afternoon. Today I'm doing it this evening. Before I say anything else, as always, I'll just say if this is your first time on my channel, please do me a favor. Please smash that like button and click on the notification bell as well so that whenever I post up any new content, you're notified immediately. And obviously, if you do that for me, guys, YouTube loves me. You know, the algorithm will love my channel and more people will have an opportunity to have access to it. So please do me that solid. So that being said, let me get right to it. So yes, so we are looking at a couple of pairs today. As always, I'm staring at the US 30 chart. It's the first chart that I opened this evening. So I'll just go and look at it from the, okay, wait first. Let's see what happened last week. So as we can see, last week there was a lot of volatility in the market. Okay. We can see some interesting drops that happened, and then we began to go bullish. Okay, so we were bullish relatively from 1st of December until when we closed the week. That was on the 3rd, I believe, on the 4th. Yeah. Was it the 4th of midnight? Sorry, the 3rd. Yes. So basically, what I'm looking at right now is I want to go to the weekly. So we did close kind of bullish. You can see there was major rejection. Ignore the markings, guys. We can see there was a major rejection. Okay. But we tapped on our previous day's low. We actually took out previous lows on the previous weekly lows, as well as daily lows. And then we rejected this zone and then just continued to push to the upside. Now, what I'm anticipating could happen this week is that we may continue to see a rally down. Now, there's also a possibility that we may just continue to push up, okay? But if at all we do, I'm just seeing us moving up a couple of points, maybe up to 34,801. Possibly move until maybe somewhere there, then we drop. But I'm still kind of looking at US 30 continuing on its downtrend. Okay, that's basically what I am seeing. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm seeing. Let me go on the daily. So yeah, so on the daily, yes, like I said, we may push up, okay, a couple of pips, maybe 200 points rather, 200 points or 300 points, and then we continue on our way to the downside. For me, I feel like we've left a lot of liquidity down below here. We still need to mitigate that liquidity. We still need to clear the imbalances that are downside. But we did close bullish. Okay, so that's clear. We did close bullish, and we may now begin to shift up. So my take would be, let me just remove some of these my alerts from my previous week. Hold on, guys. Yeah, so what I'm seeing is, like I said, we close bullish, so we may see a shift to the upside, maybe to the 34. That's at 9801, thereabouts. Let me just go back to the weekly. Weekly to me is bearish. Daily, we are seeing from the weekly as well, there's a bit of a rejection in the last 3 days of last week, and we began to see a bullish shift to the upside. So I'm seeing us targeting an immediate high of 34,965, which is about 388 points. So 34,965, 34,947, thereabouts. Okay. And then we continue shifting lower. Why am I still bearish? Because I still feel, even when we look at the price action in terms of the candlesticks, you can see a lot of bearish momentum. We see this long impulsive bearish candle that broke structure here. This is actually what caused this whole meltdown here. And I feel like, we still have room to actually continue to push lower, but possibly on the market open, high probability is we may retest the previous high at 34,960 and above, and then we will then shift lower. So that's really my take. I don't think we'll push any higher, but right now we're bearish unless something happens in the market. Then we have gold. And you guys remember last week was NFP. So when you see this crazy moves that are happening all these weeks that were there last week, let me just clear this as well. Yeah, so gold has also been bearish, okay, overall, okay, when on the daily, on the weekly as well. So for some reason, gold and US30 are kind of looking the same in terms of their bearish momentum. We see that, there was a bit of we attempted to grab liquidity kind of downside here. We still have a lot of pending liquidity downside as well. So gold really, again, has this been shifting lower, forming lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower lows, lower lows, lower lows. And then it kind of, around here, we kind of started seeing a sideways move from the 8th of March. Now, I still anticipate gold to shift lower, okay? But just based on how it closed here, we may also see gold shift up, okay? Maybe to the 1811 zone before we continue to shift lower. So that's an anticipation. We may shift up to the 1811 zone, around there. Okay, that's 1811.553, or is it 55? Actually, 1812.922. We may see a retest of that area. So I could just, like, if I was to mark it out, you may see a retest of this level, and even maybe attempt to take to push even higher, and then we see the shift lower. So I am long. I'm definitely still bearish on gold, okay? And like I said, we have a lot of liquidity here. That's why I want to see gold shift lower. So, but then we, just based on how this candlestick closed, there was this rejection downside here. I do anticipate that we'll push back up before we push down, and this would be a good target to begin to look for sells at the 1812 zone. Okay, that's on the weekly. The daily is also still telling me the same thing. Okay, yeah, we definitely will probably want to take out these highs here, take out liquidity, sell side, buy side liquidity this side, and then we'll shift lower. We may even push all the way up, but I don't really anticipate that happening. To 1851, it's possible, but I think an immediate, actually, yeah, it is possible for us to shift all that way, because the daily now is giving me something else. Let me look at the 8-hour. So actually, if we do begin to shift up, a good area to 1822. Okay, so 1822 is a good zone, okay, to begin to look for sells or continuation down. But if I just look at the way this, just market structure, candlestick structure here, price action, just this rapid drop down, and then continuing tapering down, it just gives me bearish messaging. So I will, even if I do get opportunities, or you do get opportunities to buy, please note that we are in a selling market, a sellers or a bears market. So that's for gold. Like I said, looking almost similar to US30. Let me look at GBPUSD. GU as well closed bearish. So technically, guys, the market has really been bearish. I mean, there's been a bloodbath, so to speak. If it's not in the crypto world, currencies, and for sure with the markets, the forex indices and all that, we see that because of COVID news, I believe last week, Omicron and all that drama. I mean, really, and all the speeches that have been made by, the different central bank governors and stuff like that really affected how the market is shifting. But at the same time, for me, I always look at it from a perspective of we're going towards the end of the year. So the reason why price is shifting lower is because institutions are wanting to buy the market at heavily discounted prices. So they're going to take you out until they've gotten enough positions in the market before they begin to shift upwards. So I believe next year, generally, the market will be quite bullish. And we may see a rise of that beginning to happen maybe towards the end of the year, maybe even sometime this year. So, but yeah, that may be the explanation why we just see bearish momentum across the board. So when it comes to GU, GU retested its December 2020 level, okay, failed to break through. So signifying that possibly this is a very good demand zone, okay. Most buyers come in there, but what we saw last week was manipulation, whereby yes, we did have some buying pressure coming in, but then those buyers who bought too early were liquidated. As you can see what happened, this was on the 30th of November, the end of the month. A lot of buyers potentially may have begun to buy, but then they were liquidated in the next week. So and that's standard. I mean, with institutional play here, that's expected. So what I'm anticipating right now, what I see is I'm trying to look for levels of structure that are untested. We're still seeing it's still quite bearish. This is the 8 hour. Let me go on the weekly. Weekly is really looking bearish, guys. Okay, so yes, we may reject off of this zone. It's a possibility, but there's also possibility for us to shift even lower to the 1.30833 level. Okay, there's a whole zone of demand happening around this level that is untested. So that's not that will be quite I mean, that's expected. But I'm also seeing possibility of price also possibly rejecting this zone because it hasn't really been tested this zone since 2020. It may reject that zone and begin to shift up towards 1.34155 level, and this is where would be a nice entry for continuation down. So for me, if this is a seller's market, right? So I would want to be entering on the sells up here at 1.32754 exactly. 32754, yes. Let me just change the color of my of this thing so that I can kind of see it a bit differently. Yeah, so actually 34155. Okay, 34155. This is on the weekly. I'm seeing price retesting. I mean, if you can get in here at whatever time of the week, you're really going to have a really nice sellers run or selling run, and that would go all the way down to 1.266. I mean, if you're swing trading, that's a possibility, 1.26770. So that's if we reject here. If not, we may just end up breaking this zone and then retesting the 1.30808, and then we bounce off and then push up, and then that's when we come down. So those are the two scenarios. Either we'll push up, then push down, or you will see the market possibly shift lower and then shift up, maybe shift lower and then continue to the upside. So this could just be rejection of the selling business happening there, and the buyers will probably come in strongly. So these are my two scenarios. I hope that makes sense. So let's look at another pair. Let me look at Euro USD. I have a friend who always asks me about Euro USD, but they do it for business purposes. They travel a lot and they're always trying to just buy the euro cheaper and or at a good rate, and so on and so forth. So now what we see with Euro USD is very interesting. We are at a key demand level. And for me, I'm just like, we are likely to see Euro USD begin to shift up. Okay, that's my take. So we did retest this zone of June 2020, and I just wanted to see us shifting to the upside. So shifting to the upside to retest the 1.16039 level. So we push up and possibly push down, and then whatever happens here, we'll decide then. But I'm kind of looking at, the bears coming in strongly. If not, I'll be surprised, but this is what I'm expecting, the bulls to kind of push the market upside and then push down. Yes, we've been bearish, but we're now at a key demand zone. And then we have, let me look at EURCAD, another popular pair that I like. I mean, not popular, another favorite pair that I like to look at. EURCAD ended the week bullish, okay? We rejected a demand level here, okay? So I'm just like, let me just see this. So we've been tapering lower, and yes, you can see what happened downside, okay? Last week, last couple of weeks rather. I mean, is it weeks or months? The last couple of months, EURCAD has been tanking. But if I look at it from a technical perspective, it was basically a rebalancing of the market. So no surprise there. And I feel like we do have some imbalances in the market that need to be, dealt with. So I feel like we do have some push opportunities to the upside. About at least beginning of the week, could see 100 pip move upwards. Okay. And then, we'll probably figure out what happens next. But long term, EURCAD has actually been bullish, okay, on the very, very long term. So I don't see us going, maybe we may crack this zone. I don't see it happening right away. I think we will, especially on market open, I think we will push up to the level I've mentioned and then continue to the downside, or just come back, retest this zone again and continue onwards. Because like I said, since 2017, we really haven't seen EURCAD test this zone again. And then there was 2020 again, and then so I'm like, okay, we just may, but I feel like we may see some upward movement. Now let me look at Euro AUD. Euro AUD, again, looking very bullish. And this is from my last week analysis. You can see this is an arrow. This is an arrow I posted last week. And definitely it did push up. I had said it would possibly push down and then push up. But then we can see there was so much buying pressure last week that we were very bullish, okay? What we may end up seeing is we may see a bit of a rejection at this zone. So I'm just going to move this, up here and be like, okay, we may see a bit of a rejection before we continue up, but long term, we are bullish. Okay, long term, we're definitely bullish. At least on the weekly. But I would love to see some retests of previous demand zones. Okay. I would really love to see some retest of previous demand zones before we push up. But there's also a likelihood we could just bust up through. But for me, I think I want to see some retest, some kind of retest, just some kind of retest. So we are at a supply zone right now. Okay, we closed at a supply zone, and that's why I'm anticipating that push down. But we closed very bullish, guys. So when I look at this again, maybe we may just drop to 1.57507 before we continue up. So we are bullish, but I personally would love to see a retest. I get very uncomfortable when the market is just rallying in one direction. It gets very hard sometimes to precise. Of course, you can't predict the market 100%, but you want to be 80-90% confident about your bias. So that's Euro AUD, and then we have AUD USD, and AUD USD, whoa, tanked. May explain why Euro AUD has been climbing. Okay, the AU pair has really suffered. Let me clear this chart a bit. So yeah, we broke levels of structure here. We retested. What was happening is possibly we're just trying to take out liquidity. That's just my take. Like, that's basically what is happening. Okay. Yeah. Whether we crack through this, I mean, this is a very bearish candle, right? Very, very bearish candle. So sellers are on a roll, but again, we are on a demand zone, so I'm going to expect some rejection. And so I would look at it like this. I would say, okay, fine. We may actually just take out sellers, premature sellers, and then push up and then continue to push down. Okay, that's a scenario. Or we could just tank. If we do that, that would be a liquidity grab right there. So I'll just say possibly don't jump into AUD USD immediately on market open. You want to kind of wait and see what happens. Chances are there could be a liquidity grab happening down here. There could be, just taking out premature buyers and sellers, because I'm sure this is a heavy demand zone, guys. So there are loads of buyers here who are possibly wanting to take the market up. And so price may shift lower first before it shifts up. But technically, I'm looking at this as we may bounce off this level and just push to the upside. Yeah, completely push to the upside. So we could push the upside and come down, or we could just literally just continue moving onwards, taking out the lows. Yeah, continue in this ranging kind of market. We may attempt to take out this high. This is actually a possibility. Okay. So that's AUD USD. Let's look at what? Let's say GBPJPY. I think GBPJPY may be looking like AUD USD. I mean, guys, this is just manipulation. Okay, this is just manipulation in the market. Potential future liquidity grabs below here, a lot of pending liquidity. So basically price will likely shift lower. Okay, grab liquidity and then continue to the upside. Because if I look at it, guys, GJ has been bullish. Okay, so what happened here is we took out this previous highs, knocked out this previous highs, and then we dropped, and we are just trying to take out liquidity downside here. So unless if I look at it from the point of those a break of structure here, we pushed up, we are still bullish. So unless we break down below the 147,031, I'm still bullish. Whatever happens in between here is just a liquidity graph, guys. So again, I'll probably wait on and see what happens on the market open by the time London session is on. So yeah, so guys, I think for today, let me look at BTC USD as well. And reason why, because I did a video on my analysis on BTC 2 weeks ago, and it played out exactly as I had anticipated. As you can see, I had put my markings here, and literally BTC went below my target. I had actually anticipated it would get to 50K. It was at around 58K when I was looking at the market, and it just dropped, and it's interesting because a lot of people have just been saying BTC is going to go up, go up, go up. And I was like, no, there's no way this thing can just go up like that without, it'll be very, I keep saying, very precarious for especially the retail traders, the retail market, because the whales can very easily just come in and take you out completely. And this is exactly what happened last week. I think 25 billion worth of dollars, of crypto dollars, was liquidated. So retail traders really suffered, okay, who had buy positions or they were holding their positions. So sometimes, we just need to understand market structure, because if we look at it on the longer term, BTC pushed up, rallied up, and then kind of formed a distribution schematic up here, and then it dropped and then began to accumulate. So what we are just seeing is that the buyers pushed up the prices. Institutional money came in, pushed up the prices, and began to shed their prices here and shifted the price lower, and then wanting to buy again at the same level that they began to buy here, okay, and then push the price up, and then literally faked guys out, okay, because once it passed the 64K mark, there are loads of people who are like, hey, we are going to the moon, and then took those buyers out and began to tank. And that's basically it. So yes, you can see consecutive candles, but last week is when the really major liquidation happened. And we see it happened right smack at the demand zone. So there was a demand zone here, a very heavy demand zone where every, I guess, retailer is thinking of buying at the 47-ish point, and just liquidated those buyers and sellers. And then what I'm seeing is we may begin to see a shift up. We may begin to see a shift up, okay? And this shift may even go back all the way to 57K before dropping again, okay? I still feel there's a demand zone here at the 30K, which is pretty low, I know, but 34K, I still feel like, it would be nice if we could just take care of that before we head to 100K, because definitely by the start of next year sometime, this 100K level is actually going to be tested. But for me, I'm just like, hey, let's just, first clear business down here before we push up. So my anticipation on with BTC is that we may push up to the 50, maybe 57K point, and then come back, retest this zone, maybe even shift lower to the 34K before we push up. So yeah, don't quote me. This is not financial advice. This is just my opinion. I could be wrong, I could be right, but I hope my analysis adds some input into your own analysis. So guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, Miss Fierce from the Fierce Trade House. Please like and subscribe. Smash that notification bell, please. Thank you so much, as always, for being such a great support. And yes, guys, we did hit 1K announcement. We did hit 1K. So I haven't yet chosen the subscriber, the lucky subscriber, and I will be doing that. I was supposed to do that this week. I have been looking at a couple of names. I have reached out to some indirectly, and I don't even think they know that I'm actually eyeing them. But I will announce who is going to get free mentorship with me, one of my lucky subscribers. So guys, like, it could be you. I haven't yet chosen, But once again, thank you guys for getting us to 1K. And next stop is 100K. So see you soon, guys. Have a lovely evening.